Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Nicholas Porcelli, bringing you another Monday edition of FSU Weather. Right now, Doak Campbell Stadium looks pretty overcast. We do have a cold front that is starting to move through, bringing some cooler temperatures and all these clouds that you can see in our live footage, as well as some precipitation later on. Right now, it's 82 degrees with a slight wind from the west at 10 miles per hour. Here you can see this is the clouds that are moving through, but the precipitation hasn't quite reached us just yet. But for tonight in Tallahassee, due to this cold front, we will be seeing some colder temperatures, 54 degrees, definitely sweater weather, and a slight breeze from the south-southwest at 5 miles per hour. For today's headlines, cold fronts will be bringing frigid temperatures to Tallahassee later on this week, snowy and gusty winds across the Great Lakes, and for right now, the tropics is pretty calm, but please never keep your guard down because we are still in hurricane season. All that and more today on FSU Weather.
As Nicholas said, we are experiencing a cold front, which is going to be making its way into Tallahassee within the next few hours or so. It's probably going to be starting around now. What that means is it's going to be bringing some possibly rainy conditions over tonight. And once that passes through, though, we are going to see some temperatures dropping pretty quickly here in Tallahassee, as well as some pretty dry conditions. So this is part of what we can see with this incoming cold front. Now, as the seasons start to change, we're going to start to see some more and more of these mid-latitude cyclones, including some possible snow in many parts of the country. For instance, up in the Great Lakes, near the Great Lakes, they actually already have some snow. So all this and more that we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be passing things off to Nico at the wall for some more looks at our local weather.
Thank you, Spencer. So here's our current conditions. This is the warmest temperature we're going to see for about a week. It's very warm outside. It's cloudy. There's some showers around in the area right now too, but it's going to cool off a lot in the next few days. A strong cold front is coming through tonight. Here's your current temperatures. It's warm in eastern Florida. It's warm in the Panhandle. You can't really see it yet, but way back out into Alabama and Mississippi, there's a very strong cold front out there right now. And here's a look at your dew points. These are going to go way down when the cold front comes through late tonight as well. It's very humid today. That's why we have had a few showers and storms. There's nothing severe locally, although Central Florida is having some severe storms. But the dew point is 72 in Apalachicola. That is very muggy. 65 is not quite as muggy, but it's still much more than it has been recently. And here's your wind speed and direction. You've got humid air coming right out of the Gulf. It is starting to switch to the northwest a little bit ahead of the cold front that will pass through tonight. The winds aren't overly strong, though, because the low pressure center associated with this cold front is way north. So today's high was 86 degrees. It was very warm today. It was above average. The low was 1 degree below average, but we weren't anywhere near the record low. We were pretty close to the record high. That's going to change over the next couple days after the front. Now here's your hour by hour. I think this was for today because it is not going to be this warm tomorrow, but it hit about 85 degrees this afternoon. And here's your rain. Here's your radar right now. You got rain coming into Tallahassee. We don't have any lightning out of this at the moment. There was some earlier, but it looks like there won't be any more lightning at the moment. It should be a little bit wet this evening, but it doesn't look like we're going to have anything with thunderstorms. Now tomorrow morning when you see the clouds pass, there's the cold front passing, and then look at what happens to the wind direction. It's coming straight out of the north tomorrow, which indicates the cooler weather. Tonight's forecast, though, 61 in Tallahassee. It's still warm one more night before the cold weather really settles in. And then you get to tomorrow's forecast. Here's where you see the effect of the cold front. It's still going to be warm in the morning, but then in the afternoon it's only going to get up to 68 degrees instead of getting up to a much warmer temperature. And then it stays that way until Thursday, where it could hit 36 degrees in the morning before warming back up next week. Now I'm going to pass things off to Aaron.
That's right, Nico. And dear Lord Farquaad, that is very cold as we get into our Wednesday and Thursday in the next week, but we'll have to see how much that continues, of course, over the state, as we'll see not a uniform trend of the cooler weather, but especially over into our area. So over in Panama City Beach right now, we're seeing cloudy conditions, temperatures up in the upper 70s. Same story down toward Miami. and over to our friends in Orlando as well. Before that cold front does begin to cool things down, we will see that those cloudy conditions beginning in those areas. Current temperatures across the area, we're staying for the most part in the low to mid 80s, especially along the peninsula and the west coast of Florida. It's not until you get over towards Pensacola or Jacksonville where you might see those temperatures in the upper 70s or so to low 80s. But overall, we're still sitting pretty muggy, especially over across I-4 and southward towards South Florida, where we're still very muggy in the 70s. It's not until you get over towards I-10, especially towards Pensacola, where you might start to begin to feel the effects of that cold front that'll be coming through and drying things out along with the colder air. So our satellite radar presentation tonight does show that cold front that is beginning to move into the area. So as Nico mentioned earlier, we did see that wind shift out of the northwest here across Tallahassee, and that will continue across the rest of the state as that front does pull more off to the south. But you can actually see on radar here, we have a lot of these showers are moving generally off to the northeast or so. It's not until you get over towards our area where you start beginning to see those showers off from the northwest, and that indicates where we're seeing that wind direction from that cold front. As for our 72-hour rainfall forecast, most of the rain should stay along the east coast of Florida, with perhaps anywhere from probably about ½ an inch to an inch or so around the Miami metro area up towards Melbourne, where you could have the potential to see a little bit of rain there. So over in Miami, we're seeing temperatures that are going to take a little bit of a dive behind that cold front. We're sitting more into the upper or mid to upper 80s across on Tuesday, and it's not until you get down towards Wednesday and Thursday where you begin to see that relief from that cold front. And as we take our trip over to or north of Miami towards Tampa, we're going to see conditions for the most part remaining pretty pleasant with 68 degrees for the high in Tampa on Wednesday. So really nice and that winter-like feel coming in across the state. It's going to be really pleasant out there with those rain chances beginning to drop as well. So only down to 10 or so percent on Wednesday and then 0% on Thursday as we have that increasing dry air continuing across the area. As for Orlando as well, we're going to see those conditions begin to improve as we get into around the middle of the week. And same story there with that sunshine coming out and that dry air limiting those rain chances only down near 0% or so. And then those cooler temperatures as well, only bringing those highs up into the upper 60s to low 70s. But overall, for tomorrow's forecast across the area, it is going to be very cold or very cooler on the cooler side over in the Panhandle there with temperatures in the 60s. But I don't know about you, Ali, but I'm excited for this cooler air.
Oh my gosh, I am just absolutely stoked for this cooler weather, folks. But why don't we zoom a little bit outwards towards the southeast? So looking at these current temperatures, Florida warmer than ever, folks. Going to be a different story later this week when we do see that cold front move through, which you can actually see up here in Little Rock, 65 over there. They're already feeling the effects of that cold front. But for most of the East Coast, we do have just warmer temperatures, again, from that moisture coming in from the Atlantic. That's just keeping these places a lot more moderated in terms of temperature. Current radar showing some showers along the Florida Peninsula. I believe there's some severe thunderstorm warnings in Osceola and Broward County, but they're mostly moving offshore as you get more northward with some scattered showers up here in Raleigh. But the rest of the southeast is a different story with just mostly dry conditions, some scattered showers here in Tallahassee and over in Louisiana. But for the most part, we're going to continue seeing drier conditions as that cold front moves through. Water vapor, kind of agreeing with that rain that we just took a look at. Just mostly water vapor, again, with those storms, associated with those storms. You can see it more in the Florida Peninsula. Look at that blue, folks. These are really moist storms. Current dew point temperatures, you can really clearly see that cold front moving in, guys. 26 in Little Rock, 19 in Nashville. Those dew points are extremely dry, folks. We're going to continue seeing that moving into the southeast. Florida definitely a lot warmer as they're still waiting to experience the effects of that cold front. But the heat index is going to agree a lot with that moisture from the dew points. Florida staying relatively warm. Warmest, I believe, 89 in Miami, but a lot cooler up in Little Rock, Memphis, and Nashville. 58, 70s along more of the East Coast. But again, you're going to continue seeing that temperature cool down as you move into the week. Wind speed and direction showing that cold front moving in, that wind just moving towards the southeast. Again, some moisture coming in from that Gulf breeze, bringing in some of those storms into the Florida Peninsula and into the East Coast. SPC storm outlook. Those severe storms that I mentioned, they do have a marginal risk, so folks, watch out if you're in those areas. As for the rest of the East Coast, mostly non-severe storms ahead of that cold front. Again, going to bring some moisture before we see that great high pressure, dry conditions, gusty conditions. The storm outlook for day 2, not severe down in Miami. Again, they're probably going to be the last of us folks here in the southeast who are going to be feeling the effects of the cold front, so they're going to be getting some storms way after us. So future radar showing those storms moving off the coast of Florida, again cropping up a little bit here in Miami, but into Wednesday, boom, absolutely clear, folks. It's going to be beautiful weather later into this week, albeit it's going to be cold weather, but if you guys are a fan of that, I definitely advise you guys to go outside. As for the 3-day rainfall forecast, we're going to be quite moist down here in Miami. Similar story up here in North Carolina, even into Virginia. It's going to be quite moist along the East Coast. For Atlanta, we're taking a close look at there, and we're going to be seeing just really consistently warm temperatures. But again, those lows are going to continue just being quite low. We're going to have great conditions there, beautiful sunny skies, really great weather. For tonight's forecast, again, just really cooler weather up in the really northern part of the southeast. But it's going to continue moving that cold weather down into the Florida Peninsula, and we're going to see those 70s turn into even lower 70s, and for some places, even in the 60s. But why don't we pass things off to Spencer, who's going to talk to us more about our national forecast.
Thank you, Ale. So right now, with local temperatures, for tomorrow's temperatures, we can see we are looking at temperatures. There we go. So across the country right now, we are looking at some pretty interesting temperatures as that cold front is making its way into our area, but not quite just yet. So we still see some pretty warm temperatures, 74 in LA, 69 in San Francisco, even 75 out in Salt Lake City. But as we move closer and closer into the more interior parts of the country, those temperatures do start to dip down a bit. 50 in Kansas City, 69 in Dallas, and 58 in Memphis. And as we make our way closer to the southeast, so here you can see that bit of a temperature gradient right here. That is the leading edge of our cold front. So looking at 73 right as that cold front is starting to make its way through in Atlanta, 58, like I said, in Memphis, 50 in Kansas City, and still pretty decently warm in the Northeast, 65 degrees in Washington, D.C. And as well, our heat indexes. So this is how hot it feels on your skin. Still looking at some pretty typical conditions, here in Florida, 84 in Tallahassee, 89 in Miami. However, as we go up the coast and closer to that cold front, those heat indices are going to start to dip down. 73 in Atlanta, 65 in D.C., 58 as well in Memphis. And as well, we can look further west, 75 in Salt Lake City and 69 in San Francisco. Our dew point. So the dew point is a measure of how much moisture the air can hold. So right here in the heartland of the country, it is bone dry. Look at that dew point of 8 degrees in Kansas City. And that's because that cold front is bringing cool, dry air from the Arctic and from up in Canada down into the central and southeastern parts of our country. So you can see out west where that front hasn't quite moved through, 57 in San Francisco and 58 in Los Angeles as well. And again, here, as I mentioned, you can see that pretty sharp gradient between that cold front. Here's those drier conditions, 30 degrees in dew point degrees in Memphis and 65 here in Tallahassee. That is going to decrease as that front moves through. So here you can see that cold front making its way into the Florida Panhandle and throughout much of the southeast. That's why right here, as you can see, we've had those really drier conditions and some cooler conditions as well, and that's going to make its way down through here. And that low associated with this cold front is up here by the Great Lakes. So actually, we did have some reports of snow, believe it or not, some light snow up in parts of Wisconsin, particularly around the Madison and Milwaukee area, and a bit north of that, I believe we had some snow today. And you can just see a lot of that rain on radar moving its way across the country. And here's a water vapor image of that same radar loop. So you can see here that swirling. Here's that dry air being curled and brought in to that low, which is what's bringing these cooler, drier air into the southeastern part of this country. So some of our active alerts in the country right now. So this dark blue here is a freeze warning. That means you can expect temperatures 32 degrees or lower for more than 2 hours. And this light blue here is a freeze watch. And just zooming in a little bit, you can see that freeze watch and that freeze warning, as well as some of that right over here. Ooh, there we go. Right here is actually a fire watch here in parts of the Florida Panhandle and into Georgia. That is because we have some drier conditions, drier air, and faster winds. So taking another look right here, we have a small craft advisory. This is because that front is bringing some pretty gusty winds, so you might want to watch it if you're on the water. It's going to get pretty cold anyway coming up pretty soon. And just another look at our satellite and radar, you can see some storms down here in Texas, as well as some storms up here in the Great Lakes. And just zooming in a little bit more down here, we have some more storms, and that's kind of it for our national look. And we're going to be passing things off to Nicholas for another look at our local weather.
Yeah, thank you. So we're actually going to be taking a look at the tropics right now. Not much going on right now. It's mid-October, so you can expect the season to be slowing down a little bit. But the season ends on November 30th, so it's definitely not the time to let your guard down. So you can see that there's some moisture over in the Gulf and some moisture over in the Atlantic, but the National Hurricane Center does not anticipate any of these systems to form into anything, into any tropical system. But bringing things back closer to home, taking a live look at the res, as you can see, the clouds from the cold front that's going to pass through are all over the region. But it's 82 degrees right now, slight winds from the west at 10 miles per hour. And our current temperatures for most of the region are in the low 80s to high 70s. You can expect these temperatures to go down. But the heat index for today was actually pretty warm, 84 in Tallahassee. All throughout the region, it was in the mid 80s. But for tonight's forecast, yeah, you're going to see as that cold front passes through, the temperatures are going to go down. 58 in Thomasville is what we expect. 61 in Tallahassee, definitely cooler, sweater weather temperatures. As for tonight's late night forecast, you can see that as the night goes on, we're going to be expecting temperatures to drop. So 73 starting at 9 p.m., 68 later on tonight, and you can expect those temperatures to even keep decreasing into the late morning. So the day planner for tomorrow, you can expect no chance of rain actually, but pretty nice temperatures for most of the morning, 59, 67, and only a high of 64 for tomorrow. So it's definitely going to be a nice day to bring out your jackets and bring out your nice sweaters. For Jacksonville's outlook, we can see that it's going to be pretty cold, 67 on Wednesday, with a high of 71 on Thursday, but pretty nice temperatures for most of North Florida. And for Bainbridge, Georgia is going to be even cooler. 36 is the low, 34 on Wednesday, and temperatures max out at 69 on Thursday. So it's definitely going to be very, very cool. And here in Tallahassee for our weekday planner, we can expect on Thursday morning 36 degrees as our low. And back towards the end of the week, things will start to heat up again with 76. So how are the temperatures looking for sports, Ale?
Oh, thank you so much, Nicholas. So for sports, folks, it's looking like really great temperatures all throughout the nation, honestly. So if you're looking for maybe some Monday Night Football, maybe tonight you're not going to see any sort of delay. So right now we're going to take a look at our sportsplex here in Tallahassee. Again, those clouds, like Nicholas mentioned, just in front of that cold front. So you're actually going to have really nice weather if anybody's interested in doing any IM sports here in Tallahassee. But if you're looking more westward towards Los Angeles, the Broncos and the Chargers are playing tonight with, for me, a beautiful temperature of 65 degrees over in Los Angeles. I know that they're normally pretty hot there. So with a nice breeze of 10 to 15 miles per hour, so it's going to be nice and gusty over there. Satellite radar showing just a really angry storm up here in Toronto. But if we're going to be looking at where the Dodgers are going to be playing, then California is looking really nice. Probably no delays for that game tonight. So folks, make sure you get some popcorn and saddle up because that's going to be quite the game. Looking at Los Angeles overall, again, 91 for Wednesday. That's quite hot. They're not going to have that nice cold front we're going to see here. So definitely nice temperatures for that game since it's going to be at night, so you don't really have to worry about that 91. As for Tallahassee, the Florida State men's tennis, Thursday, 70 degrees, folks. That's pretty cold for us here, Floridians, so maybe pack a sweater or a windbreaker. It's going to be really nice. We do have outdoor courts, so make sure you are keeping an eye on that weather forecast. As for Florida State soccer, hopefully we got a win against UNC. Thursday, 52. It's going to be nice and chilly up in North Carolina. So I hope those ladies are ready for that cooler temperature, and hopefully we get that win. Looking at that weekday planner, mostly 50s into some 60s into Friday. Again, they're also going to be feeling that cold front. Look at that, 30, folks. That is chilly. So if you're planning on going up to North Carolina, make sure you pack some winter clothing. As far as Florida State swimming and diving, 71, pretty cold to go swimming if you ask me. Hopefully that pool is heated. I believe this is also outdoors. We're going to be going against West Florida, Florida Southern, and North Florida. Hopefully we win. I know we have a great swimming and diving team. So good luck to those student athletes. As for Florida State Volleyball, different story. It is indoors, but when you go outside, it's going to be quite chilly with the 70 degrees. Hopefully, again, we get that win against Virginia Tech, and hopefully you guys stay warm. As for the week ahead, we're going to be seeing just really cooler temperatures as we've been talking about throughout the show. It's just going to be really nice and chilly for this weekend. So if you guys are interested in doing any sports, I know a lot of IM sports are going on right now. I know one of my friends actually has a kickball game tomorrow. So if anybody is doing kickball tomorrow, tomorrow's your day to do it. It's going to be so nice outside. We're going to have 60 degrees. Look at that, even into the 30s, folks. It is just going to be really nice and chilly weather. And this is just one of the many cold fronts of the season that we're going to continue seeing. But it's actually going to continue to warm up into Monday. We're going to lose those effects because this is quite unseasonably cold for us here in Tallahassee. So make sure if you guys are going to go outside tomorrow, do anything into the week, make sure you're packing and you're wearing the layers. Make sure maybe you're bringing a sweater if you have any morning classes. And if you're doing sports, preferably, I love to do sports in cooler weather. You sweat less, it's nicer, you know, you don't have to worry about any rain, and it's just really nice weather for anybody who's interested in going outside, watching, or participating in sports. But why don't we pass things over to Aaron, who's going to talk more about our lifestyle.
Thanks, Ella. It is pretty chilly there as we get throughout the rest of the actual work week here across Tallahassee. We're overall, to begin our lifestyle segment here, we're seeing cloudy conditions across much of our area cameras between the Sportsplex, Panama City, Lake Bradford, and over towards St. George Island. We are staying pretty cloudy over this evening. Current temperatures across the Big Bend are remaining in the upper 70s to low 80s across much of the area, and these temperatures will continue to drop overnight, perhaps into the 50s, but overall making for a pretty comfortable night tonight, and luckily we're escaping much of that rainfall. That drier air is starting to begin to filter into our area, so we're seeing those dew points upper or closer to 60 there in Donaldsonville now begin to filter in with that much lower dew points, potentially as low as 30 or even 20s as we get to the rest of the week with that cold front working its way in to the area. From rain forecast, we'll see that temperature going up to about 81 degrees or so currently across, if you're boating out there across the waters. We do have yellow flag up, so do watch out for perhaps some light chop or some rip current risk if you're heading out to the beach. We do have winds out of the west at 8 to 10 behind that cold front coming in across much of the area. So for a stargazing forecast, we're in the third quarter now for the moon phase. Looks like the conditions will begin to improve in terms of cloud cover overnight as we see, perhaps if you're taking that telescope out to look at the stars. For your Strozier forecast, if you are studying here for midterms at Strozier, make sure you bring that jacket because it is going to be 62 degrees there tonight across much of the area. So again, make sure you bring that jacket along with that area. So tonight, it is going to be 70 degrees or so, at least over in the beginning part of the evening. So perhaps if you're going to watch a movie, perhaps Shrek 1, where Lord Farquaad is the star of that movie, perhaps, aside from Shrek, if you'd ask me. We are staying down near mostly clear with 70 degrees there with the north wind at 5 miles per hour. Our dog walk forecast, we're going to rise up from the low to mid 50s up into the near 60 degrees by the noon hour there if you're taking your pooch out for a walk tomorrow morning. Over in Tallahassee International Airport, we don't expect any delays as we're going to keep that weather in check. So the only thing we'll see is the cloud cover, but overall we're going to limit those chances for rain, so therefore we won't expect any delays, at least across our local airport. As for the rest of the nation, we do expect perhaps maybe some slight delays if you're going to JFK or flying out of Orlando, or they could perhaps see a few showers or so passing through the area with that cold front, and that could bring perhaps some delays if you are flying out of those airports. As for tomorrow's drivecast, if you're making your way out on the road there, tomorrow we should see that drier conditions across the area with that cold front, and also those cooler conditions. We're going to just make it into the mid-60s by tomorrow, which is very unseasonably cool for this time of year. So watch out and make sure you do layer up tomorrow, especially tomorrow night where we're expecting to see temperatures down into the 30s, which is very, very cool for this time of year, Nico.
Yes, thank you, Aaron. Yeah, that's going to end up being near record low that we're going to have on Thursday morning. You got the showers, though. They're getting closer to Doak Campbell Stadium. You can see it's much darker than it was about 20 minutes ago when we last looked at Doak Campbell. But here, you're getting your temperatures are cooling a bit. It's down to 80. There's a thunderstorm icon, however, there's no lightning with this. It's just some showers around the area. There's not any lightning at the moment. But your wind speeds, they're picking up a little bit as the little line of showers does go through. We're up to 10 miles per hour in Apalachicola. Tallahassee stayed the same. Quincy went up a little bit as well, though. But east of it, Valdosta, you're calm. But here's where you have your line of showers in Tallahassee. We probably won't get lightning here, but if you're south of Tallahassee where the storm near Panama City is headed, it's headed towards you in Wakulla County. You might get some lightning and some thunderstorms later this evening as the front goes through. It does look like it will clear our area by about 3, 4 in the morning, and then the temperatures are going to start going way down. So you got your wind out of the north. This is a cold breeze. It's coming way up from the northern part of the country, and even some Canadian air is going to make it very cold. But we've got 55 tonight. It's going to get a little chilly, but it's not going to be anything near what we're having the next few days. The front is a little bit faster than expected, but that's not going to really affect the temperatures tonight. It may get a little colder than a 61, but 55, you won't really feel much of a difference between those temperatures. You're going to feel the real difference starting tomorrow into tomorrow night. Here's where you'll feel your real difference. If you're going out biking tomorrow, 66 degrees. 66 degrees at 3 p.m. Today it was like 85, so you're getting much, much, much cooler tomorrow. This is not tomorrow's forecast, but it was 85 degrees today at least. I think it hit 86. But here's your main thing this week. Look at your temperature on Thursday morning, 36. That could be that's either going to be a record low or it's going to be very close. I'm going to have to check the almanac and see what it says, but that could be a record low on Thursday morning. And it stays chilly into Friday. It doesn't really stay chilly into the weekend, even though it says so, but look at your Monday temperature, 87 degrees, so you get right back to Florida-type weather by the beginning of next week. But now I'm going to pass things off to the closing desk with Aaron and Nicholas.
Thanks, Nico. That's right. Make sure you do bring out that winter gear over the next several days or so, because we'll have those cooler temperatures invading across much of the Panhandle here and much of Florida, for that matter. But I don't know, Nico. I'm really excited for this cool air. How about you?
Yeah, I'm very excited for this cool air. It's a good change of pace. This week, definitely going to be doing a lot of activities outside because it's going to be much nicer than this brutal heat that we've had for most of the year. This weekend, I'm going to be at the circus. If you guys are interested in checking out some stuff to do to enjoy this nice weather, please come check out the FSU circus for our Halloween shows. And speaking of Halloween, Aaron, I heard you were going to dress up as Lord Farquaad for this week. That's such an interesting character. I can't wait to see it.
Perhaps. I'll have to see about the height difference because I might have to shrink somehow a little bit. But overall, perhaps I will go grab myself a Lord Farquaad gear there from, I don't know, what's it, I guess, Spirit of Halloween? Is that one of the stores maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have to see, though, for, was it, I think, next week? Or over the next several weeks or so, what we decide to do for Halloween. But make sure to follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU Weather.
And also make sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU Weather.
And if you're not already watching us live, make sure you watch us live on YouTube at youtube.com/FSU Weather.
And please follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather, when you can send us cool photos and stuff, and we'll post it on our Instagram.
That's right. And if you have dog pictures as well, make sure you send them in perhaps for our dog walk forecast. It'll make things a little more lively. But overall, thanks for joining us here on FSU Weather. But make sure you do bring that jacket out, though, or for the next several nights or so, as we will see those cooler temperatures come in.